Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about don't deprive yourself to lose weight. Please, for the love of God, do not deprive yourself in order to lose weight. It doesn't work for very long. And this is unfortunately the main strategy most dieters are going to rely on. They're going to deprive themselves of usually all the things they like to do, but they're certainly going to deprive themselves of their favorites at least. And as soon as you remove your favorite foods, your favorite eating experiences from your life, it is just set a timer because it is just a matter of time until you quit and give up so that you can go back to eating your favorite foods and have your favorite eating experiences again. And I know you don't want to believe this, but how many times has this happened to you? So, again, we do not want to start our weight loss journey by choosing the most enjoyable thing in our lives and saying no more. It's not going to work. So, as a specific strategy, choosing your favorite things and saying no more isn't going to work. The other side as well is that in a general sense, when it comes to weight loss, you think you need to deprive yourself. And that is because of the way that you're thinking about this. So I'm going to get back to the strategy in a moment, but I want to go back to the deeper mindset as well for a second, that you have been conditioned at this point by the diet industry that when you think about weight loss, you subconsciously think deprivation, you subconsciously think pain. And so that causes you to not think about weight loss and what you want to accomplish enough. Now, you tell yourself you should lose weight all the time. I'm not arguing that piece. But what I'm saying is you don't allow yourself to imagine yourself at your goal weight, losing weight comfortably. You don't let yourself think about that. And that's a big problem because if you let yourself think about how incredible it feels to comfortably lose weight, to live at your goal weight, to be the person you want to be, what happens every time you think about that, you start generating positive emotions that pull you towards it. And it is the positive emotions we associate to things that drive our behavior. Why do you think you're eating the food you're eating in the first place? It's because you anticipate pleasure when you eat them. Okay. So, what we want to realize is the more you start thinking about this process being comfortable, enjoyable, and not deprived, not feeling deprivation, not feeling pain, the more your brain starts to live in that reality of how amazing it is to be the person you want to be, weighing what you want to weigh. And it creates that forward momentum, that pull towards the goal. So, that's a general sense of why we want to skip deprivation. Now, we get back to the specifics. You say, okay, Jim, I don't want to deprive myself of my favorite foods. And how am I going to lose weight? Well, of course, you need to change how you're eating. But what I'm saying is don't start with the most enjoyable foods in your life. Start with the foods that are a little less enjoyable. How about that? You can still eat your favorite food, your favorite meal of the week, but we don't need to keep all of it. And we can't keep all of it if you want to lose weight, but we don't want to get rid of the best stuff. We want to get rid of the stuff that's in the middle. That's usually an easier thing to manipulate. And so I was working with a client today and she goes, well, if I want to lose weight, I've got to, stop going out to dinner with my husband because I'm eating appetizers and dessert. And I'm eating too much there. I have to stop doing that if I want to lose weight. Well, no, not true. You can keep that, but let's focus on, reducing the cookies you're eating at lunch. You know what I mean? Like maybe those aren't as enjoyable to you as that big dinner is. And the more you start to understand this, the more you can start to be strategic with your weight loss and ultimately your weight mastery. It's not about picking our favorite things or the things we enjoy and cutting them all out of our lives because now we're not going to stick with it. It's about strategically saying, let me keep the most enjoyable thing and let me start to reduce, replace, remove the things that aren't helping my weight, that aren't really as enjoyable. Now, all of a sudden, you're in a completely different reality with your weight. And when you approach it this way, we're subconsciously reaffirming to ourselves that we are not here to create pain for ourselves. The no pain, no gain philosophy for most people is complete and utter bullshit, and it's never going to work for you. So instead, we need to find a comfortable way to reduce our calorie consumption so that we can live at our goal weight. And if we approach it that way, right off the bat, we're aiming at the deprivation and saying, no, I don't want to feel deprived. I'm not going to feel deprived to do this. I'm going to do this comfortably. And just doing that alone puts you into a different reality where you start to train your mind to focus on better, more comfortable solutions for you. So I hope this makes sense. And if you want to experience this firsthand, click the link in my bio, go get the hypnosis session I give you. It's called The New Thin Me. It'll help you experience a comfortable way to lose weight. And then I made a video for you that's free as well that will help you take you through my whole system. And you can kind of see a much better way to approach this than what you've probably been doing. So I hope this helps you out. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. I know for my Muslims out there, I feel you. How's the Ramadan going? I know it's a tough month, right? It's tough to go from one way of eating to, bam, right to another way. So I'm thinking about you. Hand says, if no one has told you this, you are absolutely incredible. I freaking love your takes on this. Well, thank you. That's very nice. I was waiting for, I said that if no one's told you this, I said, uh-oh. But that was nice. So thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate that. I try to come out here with a different take on things, Carmel says it's Pancake Day here in the UK. Okay. I got a national Pancake Day. Why not? It is this way. Very rarely will we have a national fruit day. Is there a national fruit vegetable day? But I love pancakes. I like pancakes. I'm not going to lie. I've definitely, my take on pancakes has changed over the years. I prefer waffles. I prefer crepes. I don't really love pancakes as much as I did, but still like them. But anyways, hope you have a great Pancake Day in the UK. I did not know that. What's up, Don? How's it going? Pancake Day. And says, can you touch on the way eating is also a way of comforting one's emotions? Yeah, for sure. That's definitely something. If you want to get your weight under control, this is, I'm arbitrarily making up a number, like 63% of facts are just made up on the spot. Anyways, but majority of mastering your weight, of losing weight and then mastering it, is based on your ability to handle your emotions in a genuine way without food. And in our culture, UK, USA, Canada, Australia, anyways, we have been conditioned our entire lives to use food as our main emotional management strategy. So if something bad happens, we use food to kind of numb the pain and make it better. And if something good happens, we use food to celebrate. So our entire lives, food has really been associated with managing our emotions. And we've got to figure out how to manage our emotions in a more genuine way without food, if you're ever going to have any ability to influence your weight long term. Because in your life, you're obviously going to have emotionally down times and you're going to have emotionally up times. That's how your life's going to go for the rest of your life. So how are you going to manage the shitty emotions that come your way without food? That's the question. And at first you may say, I have no idea. Okay. And that's fine, because it's helpful to realize that you may have zero strategies. You may have zero emotional management strategies. Again, we're conditioned to use food, alcohol, drugs, entertainment, sex, gambling as our emotional management tools. So we're never really taught how to deal with our emotions. That's why I feel like one of the luckiest guys on the planet. And I am not in front of you saying I'm the most emotionally healthy person, because I am not. I'm not an emotional management expert. I'm a weight mastery expert, but emotions are obviously a huge part of this. But I was very lucky in my life because I grew up with Mr. Rogers. And if you don't know who Mr. Rogers was, he used to have a show on PBS, and he was a genuinely good person. And he wanted to help teach children how to deal with their emotions genuinely. So I feel very fortunate that I got to have him in my life. And I think that's the first step, is just realizing that most likely you probably have almost no strategies to deal with emotions in a genuine way, if you're like the typical average American. And it's not a judgment. It's just a recognition of the environment we live in. There's just no, where are you going to teach? Where you learn that? Nowhere. You have to seek it out, basically. And I have seeked it out. And again, I think there's a lot of ways to deal with it, but that's the first step, is realizing you probably have no strategies to deal with your emotions. So for example, so how do you figure this out? Well, the first step is awareness. What are the emotions you deal with? because everyone's unique. So everyone's got their own emotions they're dealing with. So for me, my father died when I was 9. The first thing I had to go through to get any chance of being able to deal with this is I had to deal with my literal. He died when I was 9, and I was 19 when I started dealing with this stuff. And I had to learn how to deal with my anger, my grief, my sadness, the depression, the feeling of unfairness, all these emotions that were roiling in me that I had no idea how to deal with. I had to deal with them. So I think the first step with dealing with emotions is to recognize for you, what are your patterns? What's your situations? Because we're not just going to be like, I'm going to deal with all the emotions. No, and there's too many of them. So you want to figure out which emotions are impacting you the most right now and negatively. And it could be positive or negative. So you might be like, oh my God, I'm a great salesperson. And every week when I sell, a big sale, I go out and I eat like crazy. Okay. That's less usual. That's less normal than usually it's negative emotions. I get depressed and I overeat. I get sad and I overeat. I get stressed out and I overeat. Okay. But the first step is recognizing for you, what emotions are most responsible for the overeating. And again, the big ones, depression, stress, anger, tension, things like that, sadness, alone, loneliness. Okay. And so we start to recognize which emotions kind of trigger me the most. And there won't be a million of them. There'll be a couple of them. And then you start asking the question, okay, in the past, when I've felt depressed, I've gone to the food to manage it. I don't want to do that anymore. So the first question becomes, okay, when I feel depressed, how do I want to feel? That's such an important question because it connects us to our human power, our ability to influence the reality and the situation. And we have so much more power than we realize because we've never been taught to tap into our power. So we tend to just kind of instinctually just be at the mercy of these emotions. So I feel depressed. I just feel depressed. And we're trying to just kind of get through it, numb ourselves, And so, oh, what's up, Deanna? Yeah, Deanna says boredom, right? So boredom. So I get bored and then, I don't like feeling bored. So I distract myself with food or scrolling or whatever it may be. But we're talking about food here, but your weight. So it's probably food. So we start to recognize the core problem, and it might be boredom, it might be depression, it might be sadness, it might be loneliness, and it might be a number of them. They might show up at different times, but you'll start to notice patterns. Most people don't experience 30 different triggers of emotional eating a week. Okay. It usually starts to be a cycle, and it usually cycles around specific 2 or 3 emotions. So you start to recognize, oh, I get bored and then I eat. Okay. So I say, wait a second. I don't want to do that anymore. When I get bored, what do I want to feel? What do I want to do? And this is where it starts with the language. You say, oh, well, okay. Yeah. I don't want to feel bored. What do I want to feel? I want to feel stimulated. I want to feel interested. I want to feel curious. Okay. And I want to feel compelled. Whatever the words are for you. And once we identify the words, say, okay, I want to feel stimulated. Okay, what can I do that'll stimulate me in a real genuine way rather than just running to the food when I'm bored? Well, maybe I'll call a friend and have a conversation. Maybe I'll go and do some volunteer work and help my community out. Whatever it may be. Again, I'm not, whatever it is, it's different for each person. But if you go along with this process, if you use this process to become aware of your emotional eating triggers, diagnose, what's kind of causing what's going on here, and then articulate, what do I want to feel? And what can I do to feel that? Now, it is a process. You don't just do this once and come up with a bunch of answers and now you're fixed. It's a process you consistently do to become more and more aware, more and more articulate, more and more strategies and solutions available to you. But the difference is this. Say you do this for a month. Say you're a boredom eater. And again, if you're whatever emotional eating you all have been struggling with, you've been struggling with for decades. Okay. So let's just say we take a month doing this process. And so for a month, we say, okay, boredom eating, I want to find some new things to do. And so we start reading more. We haven't read in a while. We pick up our, playing the piano again. We start practicing that a little bit. We go play pickleball, like the say, right? So go start playing pickleball, whatever. And again, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying those things are specifically the answer. I'm saying activity, something genuine is the answer, and it's different for each person. But now it's got a month later, right? Now you're like, oh, I've been playing the piano a little bit more. Oh, I've been reading a little bit more. I've been playing pickleball, once a week, and I've made some new people I'm kind of liking. That's kind of being fun. And so now maybe your boredom eating has reduced by 50%, and now you're doing interesting things that you enjoy doing. Do you see the difference between that and trying to just stop emotional eating? which is what most dieters do, there's a huge difference between just fighting that urge and as long as we can and resolving it. What I'm talking about here is finding real, genuine solutions. Because once you have a real, genuine solution, it tends to keep moving. You get in a pickleball league. Okay. Well, now there's a commitment there. Now there's more of a chance you're going to keep doing that. And that resolves the boring situations where you tend to go to the food. Now you just wiped it right out. Oh, now I start to read it. Oh, I'm really into this book. That you resolve that situation. You see? So when you approach it this way, I think you set yourself up for much longer term success, and you're dealing with the core issue rather than just trying to fight with the symptom, which is typically what emotional eating is. You know? So I hope that helps. But again, if any of you are dealing with any of these things, again, I would strongly suggest that you all go get the hypnosis session in my bio. Okay. Because again, the main reason, Mustafa, yeah, day 3 of fasting. Good Lord. 14 hours. It's a long time, man. It's intense, right? How's it going? How's it going with all that? I'm working in a call center and I have an outburst every 3 hours. Yeah, I bet. Oh, that's a bad combo, right? Call center and fasting for 14 hours. That's a challenging situation, Mustafa, for sure. But you can do it. And again, I would suggest the main thing I always say to people, Ramadan, obviously, but there's other people that do fast for spiritual reasons, that the value of that is that when you have a really congruent, motivating goal, you can do amazing things. And that's one of the main things I want you to keep in mind, while you go through this. So I know it's not easy, but again, you'll do it. Also, thank you. We'll try not to have more than one. That was one pancake. Just a pancake day and National Pancake Day in the UK. Han says, you're literally one of the few people who truly say what the real deal is. More people should know you. You're right about that. It's so true. I got the keys to the kingdom here. Life's funny. I will tell you that. Like, it's funny when you have like magical information and, you do your best to get it out there. I always say that the hardest part of my reality of doing what I do is that most people just kind of don't believe it. They're so conditioned to think like dieters that when they hear this stuff, it's like the big lie shit. I don't know if you ever looked into the big lie back of the Nazis and Hitler. It's fascinating because what happens is giant groups of people will tend to believe big giant lies more than they believe little lies. And in terms of weight loss, dieting is that big lie that most people believe in. And it's part of the, it's the primary piece of the umbrella, but the other piece of the umbrella is surgery or medicine. So people have diet, medicine, surgery as the complete and total umbrella of weight loss that they believe in and know about. And so when you speak about something outside of that umbrella, it's just met with, it just doesn't, there's no reference point in their mind. You say, oh, I'm going to influence my mindset. I'm going to use strategic solutions to master my weight. These are all brand new concepts, new words. And so it's like they just bounce up against that umbrella and fall to the ground like raindrops, So that is the more challenging piece of my reality, that you have this magical solution, but people are too brainwashed, too entranced, too programmed to hear it. So that's my challenge in life. Curveball said, I'm going to watch Mr. Rogers from season 1 and master my emotions. There you go. I don't know if you'll master him, but it's definitely, he's one of the few people I've ever seen in society actually speak about emotions. I remember there's one episode, I'll always remember it. I don't know much, but I remember it was a time in my life. I had quite a bit of loss in my life when I was young. But I remember he did an episode where the goldfish died and he talked about it. And it's just, in this culture, we don't really interface with a lot of difficult emotions. We're more taught to just avoid them. And so that's what I believe anyways. And so I don't think we really get much training, and you need training. I always say this about the weight piece is that it's not hard. It's not rocket science what I'm saying, but it's just, you're so programmed in such a way that it's like, huh? You know what I mean? It just doesn't sink in. And so, but how to deal with emotions is the same thing. You know what I mean? That the emotional stuff's the same thing. We've never been taught to deal. We've been taught to deal with our emotions by going and consuming shit. So we've never learned to deal with our emotions. That's been such a huge part of my journey, is being able to sit mindfully, presently with really unpleasant emotions. That's been one of my favorite processes for growth, and certainly one of the most important pieces of being able to master my weight. So, yeah, I do think Mr. Rogers is one of the very few people that was a very genuine emotional person. And I think it's rare. And he made it a point to want to help people because he knew that there were people out there, especially kids as his demographic, that didn't have anyone to help them process that stuff. So, anyways, maybe I'm crazy, but Carmel says, I realized it takes me 15 minutes exercise to do 60 calories. So I try to keep in mind when deciding what I'm going to eat. Yeah, of course. You can't out train a bad diet. You don't even have to exercise anymore, folks. If you hate exercising, you can stop and you can just put that energy into not eating so much shit. It's way easier. That's what I've done. I've mastered my weight for 30 years, dropped 50 pounds and lived 50 pounds lighter for 30 years, had one blip 12 years ago, but I have not dieted once. I have not exercised hardly at all. So what I've done is I have mastered my eating. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Carmel, that paying attention, that's really important. And says also, what about weight loss envy or people around you trying to sabotage your progress? Yeah, it's real. It's real, right? We all feel it, right? And again, it's normal. It's a normal, let's go back to emotions. Let's talk about that, okay? Because feeling jealous. Yeah, what an ugly, awful emotion. I shouldn't be jealous. Okay, yeah, so what? You're still feeling jealous. And people around you are going to feel jealous when you start eating better and you start losing weight. They're going to feel jealous amongst lots of other things. They're going to feel scared, right? Because all of a sudden it's different. All of a sudden you're acting different. All of a sudden we don't bond over overeating. All of a sudden we're not bonding over being unhealthy and not caring about our weight. Uh-oh, now all of a sudden you're getting new clothes. Uh-oh. So yeah, if you want to lose weight, I will tell you one of the biggest blocks you have to it is that your closest relationships, yeah, they're gonna suffer most likely. Why? Not because of reality, but because of, we don't live in reality anyways, folks. We live in our heads. But yeah, all of a sudden you start acting different, it's gonna break rapport with the closest relationships in your life. Do you not think that? So, yeah, people try and sabotage you and you try and sabotage other people, usually subconsciously. You're not even intentionally doing it. But people are always subconsciously sabotaging your weight loss attempts. And you're constantly have sabotaged other people's weight loss attempts. I guarantee you. And that's the name of the game. That's the reality of the situation. So what do you do about it? I think the first thing you have to do is acknowledge it and recognize it's true, even though it shouldn't be. No one should do it. I shouldn't do it. Thanks, Karen. No one should do it, but people do it all the time. So how do we want to respond to it? So again, notice that pattern there, hand. It's kind of like, okay, people are trying to sabotage me. How do I want to respond to that? Because a lot of people, someone tries to sabotage them, they just fall right into it. No, I'd lose so much weight if my husband didn't bring home those chips. Yeah, well, did he put them into your mouth to make you chew them and swallow them? I know I know it's harder when people bring shit in and sabotage you or set you up for failure. I know that's difficult to deal with. I get it, but you can still overcome it. That's a challenge for me. But when you're congruently motivated enough and you keep coming up with strategies, you can overcome that, but it is real. Weight loss envy of people around you losing weight. The big challenge there is that you go into fantasy land and you watch people lose weight. Well, they can lose weight and I can't. Well, I eat perfectly and I don't drop a pound. I just walk by a bakery and I'm 10 pounds heavier. No, you're not. It's because you fucking eating the donuts in the bakery. No one walks by a bakery and gains 10 pounds. Stop saying shit like that. It makes you powerless. Again, so much of this is what it all comes down to, in my opinion, is the way you program yourself. And you don't even realize this. You have an internal dialogue, right? You talk to yourself. That voice in your head is keeping or making you overweight. And until you change that voice, your weight's never going to change long term. And so a lot of people speak to themselves in a very powerless way, But that certainly goes into the weight loss envy, But the envy is natural and unavoidable. You're always going to feel envy when someone is getting something that you want and haven't gotten yet. That's what I mean, you're a human, so what the fuck? You can be happy for him and still envy him. So I think we have to acknowledge that piece of it. You're not changing that. What you have a chance of doing is how you respond to it. And so you could feel envy and you say, wait a second, I'm happy for him though. You know, what I'm feeling has nothing to do with them. It has to do with me. How can I start to get results like they're getting? I want to do what they're doing. That looks fun. I want to do that. What can I do to make that happen? Well, what a different conversation, right? And or if people sabotaging you. Oh my God, they're sabotaging me. So I can't even lose weight. I live with people that fucking junk food everywhere. I can't change anything. Okay. What if you could? What if you said, oh my God, I got people trying to sabotage me. How do I want to respond to this? I want to respond with some fucking grit and some challenge. I want to man up, woman up. I want to do what I want to do. I want to feel powerful. I want to feel strong. Go ahead, put that shit around me. I don't care. I'm so excited and focused on my goal. I don't give a shit. Put all that shit around me. I could care less. And I'm not saying just because you say that it instantly happens, but doesn't that feel better? So again, it's our mindset, specifically what we say to ourselves. It either drives us into a ditch or around a cul-de-sac, blah, 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 the same thing over and over and over. That's where most of you dieters are at. Oh my God. Being a dieter is the worst thing in the world. One of them. Oh Christ. You just fucking, I don't ever watch like European Vacation with Chevy Chase, but they get lost in England, speaking of England. And they just go around, they're lost and they keep driving in a circle. And they're like, oh, kids, look, Big Ben, Big Ben, Big Ben. But for you dieters, like, oh, look, it's Weight Watchers. Let's try Weight Watchers again. Let's try Weight Watchers again. Hey, Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers. It doesn't matter. I mean, keto, whatever. You pick your poison, but it's the same process, isn't it? You're just stuck in a fucking roundabout. Oh my God. So yeah, it's learning how to speak to yourself differently is how you free yourself and get into new territory and new reality. So I hope that makes sense. Jody says, love that. Bounce off the umbrella. That's a new one. That is a new one. Jody, you watched that? That was created right on the spot. That is a good one though, isn't it? I was thinking that even when I said it. It's a good metaphor. What's up, Bazra? Hey, Jim, how long does it take the body to detox from fast food? I don't know. I don't know if there's any clear answer for that. Because what's detoxing mean? What level of detox are we looking for? Detoxing, I will tell you, as someone who's detoxed in their life and bought into all that bullshit. I used to do the master cleanse. I bought into all that. And as I've learned more and more, most of it's a bunch of bullshit. And so I don't think of detoxing in the short term ever. I only think of it in terms of the long term, and eventually get to a point where I want to detox my life, and I think much more that way. That's been enormously helpful though, because the core reasons I don't really eat junk food stuff, fast food stuff, processed food stuff typically is simply because I do not want to put that shit into my body. So it's become a global paradigm that I think within, and it definitely contributes to the foods that I choose and choose not to eat. So I don't know how long it would take to detox from fast food, but I'm less interested in that. And I'm more focused and interested in not wanting to put any of that shit in my body in the first place. I think fast food stuff to me is so disgusting. It's the grossest of the grossest. It's just made out of what? Anything that can last that long without molding and spoiling is disgusting to me. I do not want it in my body. That's honest. I'm just being dead honest with y'all. That's how I think about it. So I almost don't even understand that question. You know what I mean? Like it's an odd reference point. Our reference points are different. So I would suggest this. Let me speak to your question. If you eat a lot of fast food, if you stopped eating fast food today, I bet you'd feel amazing by the end of the day. Tomorrow you'd feel amazing, and you would just keep feeling better and better and better and better. So there's that answer too. Deanna says, I learned that from you, Jim. My thoughts were taking away my power. Yeah, absolutely. Thoughts are absolutely either empowering us or taking our power away. Primarily your thoughts. Again, this is one of those things that I know and I try and share with you all. I do this every single day for free because, I am trying to get the word out there. If you give a shit about your weight, which I'm more and more convinced people really don't give a fuck about their weight. Every day I'm more and more convinced about this. But if you do care about your weight at all, I'm here for you as much as any person on the planet. Trying to let you know that there's a better way to go about this than dieting. Angela says, yeah, you have to program your mind to not desire to eat that stuff. Most of that food now disgusts me. Yeah, exactly what Angela said. And again, why do we know this? Because if you study people that have successfully lost weight and kept it off, it's the same fucking story over and over and over and over and over and over again. And no one ever studies these people for some reason. I don't know why, but I do. And that's why I want to share with you what I've learned, because it's not rocket science. It's not confusing. It's all of them always say the same thing ultimately. And that's what I try and share with you. Excuse me. Wait, did I see Jonathan Walker here? I got to see how Jonathan's doing. Mario's here too. So funny. It's funny you guys get on at the same days. Curveball said it's very powerful. Thank you for sharing that. I believe this is an avoidance society too. Yes, absolutely an avoidance society. Again, my conspiracy, I'll just tell you all, I think above politics, above religion, the thing that binds us together more than anything is we're all consumers. Consumers, the world's never known, especially if you're in America. We are apex consumers that the world's never even known. When we're reaching more and higher levels, 100 feet a day, going up higher levels. And so I think that, again, we're not taught to deal with things at a core level. We're taught consistently to just go off to consume shit, food, entertainment, products, whatever's. So, yes. Jonathan, finally have time to hop on the live. Jonathan said I was on vacation. I had no idea why I gained 20 pounds on top. Afterwards, I was walking and swimming. I just hate that I look bigger compared to my husband. Wow, gained 20 pounds on vacation. Jonathan said, and Jim, I know what you're going to say, but I was eating so normally. Yeah, you were eating normally, like you're overweight normally, Stealth. Mostly. Come on, Jonathan. No one gains 20 pounds eating the... Jonathan has lost a lot of weight. He did it through the dieting way. He had a wedding coming up and he really wanted to lose weight for the wedding and the pictures. He was super motivated. Do some extreme shit, knock yourself out, lost a ton of weight very quickly doing extreme shit. Got to the wedding, missed him for a month or so. How's it going? It's going great. I haven't gained any weight. The next day, oh, whoops. Actually, I gained 15 pounds. I hadn't been weighing myself. Then family started busting his balls. He started feeling bad, started reducing the weight, doing extreme shit again. Now it seems like he went on vacation and put the weight right back on, 20 pounds on a vacation, eating normally though. So what's normally though? Normally there's overweight Jonathan and there's restrictive Jonathan. And we don't know which normally, we can take a guess. So if Jonathan puts 20 pounds on during a vacation, is the normally he's referring to the restrictive normally or the overweight normally? And you may be like, hey, boy, you're being a real dick to this guy, Jim. I know Jonathan and he likes when I'm a straight shooter with him. So we've got rapport and stuff or whatever, but I want to know which normally was it? And I see all caps. I see all, Jim, I know what you're going to say, but all in caps too. But you got to stop doing this to yourself, folks, because this is a powerless thing. When you say, I don't know, I was eating fine. And I don't know how 20 pounds came on because I was eating perfect. No, you weren't. You were eating perfectly to put 20 pounds on. There's what you think and there's what you're experiencing. I would focus on what you're experiencing, folks. It's a much cleaner mindset. A lot of you are just making yourselves nuts. Oh my God, I don't understand. I'm fucking eating perfect and I'm gaining 20 pounds. No, your weight's always going to reflect what you're eating. Yeah. Jonathan doesn't like looking bigger compared to the husband. That's just not going to be enough motivation. I will let you know that. I tell you this every day, and this is one of those things. This is one of those things where I could say it till I was blue in the face, and no one's going to believe me. But you wanting to look better, if your motivation is based on how you look, I can almost guarantee you it's not going to be enough motivation for you. I know you don't believe that, but I said what I said. It makes me feel less feminine as well. Yeah, no, I get that hand, but I would go more into the femininity of it. Now that's a different thing. It's not about the looks. The looks is not going to motivate you enough. The looks is fine to have as part of the motivation. I want to make that clear. How you look and care. I know that's important. It should be a piece of it. It's not enough though. So again, even for you, hand, I would focus more on the femininity. You say, well, it's the same thing. No, it's not. No, it's not. How you look and the femininity you feel are not the same thing. They're related, but they're not the same. And so I would go into the femininity that you want to feel. And I think you'll find that's way deeper motivation, if that makes sense to you. So Karen says, for me, consistency was the key I was missing. I'd be good for a week and think magic should happen. Oh yeah. Well, that's every dieter in the world. Every dieter in the world thinks, yeah. Because listen, folks, when you go on a diet, you compress time. So when you go on a diet, it's really hard and difficult and you're really paying attention. So that week feels like a month to you emotionally. And then you step on the scale and it didn't move much because it's only been 7 days, but it feels like it's been a month. And so it feels extremely discouraging. You're just, yeah, a lot of reasons why that doesn't work. Mario says, I've been eating in a completely new way and I only eat junk twice a week now, but I haven't really lost anything. I'm not sure why. It's because you're consuming the same amount of calories were consuming. I eat such good foods all the time now. Good foods doesn't mean you're eating less foods. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see. It's the licensing effect in action. So you're eating healthier foods, but you're still eating as many calories as you were. And that's why you're not losing weight. Mano says, hi, do you have any tips for Ramadan and avoiding oily foods my family is eating? I know. Yeah, the irony. Well, I guess yeah, Ramadan's tough. I think that the main thing I focus in on is really, really, really make it a spiritual thing. Because the more intense your motivation is, the easier it is to do anything, So I think really sitting in why you want to do this and really, again, really, and I know but listen, I can't speak for you because people are different, but I used to, when I was Greek Orthodox, we used to fast, not eat meat. So it wasn't anywhere near the intensity, but it felt intense when I was doing it. So things are relative, but I would just do it. I didn't really know why. So I find, if I was still doing that now, I would really, really use that time to really dive into my spirituality and the reasons I was doing this. And I think you'll find that the more energy and focus you put on that, the less energy and focus you'll have for the food, and you'll just have a deeper motivation. That's kind of my main one. Hey, Karen Broker Plateau. What do you know? Great job, Karen. Good way. Good job being patient. Proud of you. Humac says, I lost 70 pounds, but I've recently started to binge, which never happened before, even when I was overweight. Why? I mean, it's kind of normal to some degree. I don't know how you lost weight. I don't know how long it took you to lose 70 pounds. Without context, it's hard for me to give you a really valuable answer, but it's not unusual for people to make drastic restrictive cuts to their calories, lose a bunch of weight, and then end up binging. And there's two reasons for that. One is that you've deprived yourself for so long that now you can't control your eating and you haven't been practicing the eating normal anyways. And the other thing is that, yes, true. When you do lose a bunch of weight, your body does hormonally trigger you to kind of eat more. And so when you put those two things together, it's a bad combination. And it's part of the reason why 95% of dieters, 95% of dieters that lose weight put it back on. So I don't know. Again, I don't know what you did to lose weight. I'm going to guess it was a diet-based thing. And yeah, once you lose 70 pounds, you haven't practiced eating normally. You practiced restrictive dieting. And now that excessive accumulated restriction and your body's response to want to eat more is probably what's contributing to binging. What's up, John? John says, can you please expound on how to activate the subconscious mind to help with weight loss? Yeah, I mean, in the simplest way to get your subconscious mind to help with your weight loss, it's to, I guess people understand it mostly as visualization, although that's not really accurate, but it's imagining yourself the way you want to be. That's the easiest way to get your subconscious mind involved and on board with it. So the more vividly, the more articulatedly you can imagine yourself being the person you want to be, weighing what you want to weigh, eating the way you want to eat, feeling the way you want to feel, the more you get your subconscious mind on board. Every single commercial you see is a hypnosis session designed to get your subconscious mind on board with overeating unhealthy foods. And how are they doing that? They're showing the food. They're showing it coming towards people, building up the anticipation. They're showing people eating it. So you're getting secondhand enjoyment. You have mirror neurons that actually allow you to tap into that enjoyment. And so you're constantly, when you watch TV and ads, you're programming your subconscious mind to crave and desire those foods and those behaviors. So to get our subconscious mind on board with weight loss and living as a thin, healthy person, it's the same process. Excuse me. It's the same process, just with different content. So instead of watching, fast food stuff ads all the time, we're imagining ourselves eating healthier foods, feeling amazing, looking better, feeling energized, being happy, all that. And that's how we kind of get our subconscious mind on board. Drinking water. Drinking water is definitely one of the helpful things. Low carb food ideas. I love watching you. Thanks for the advice. You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate that. Curveball, our bodies are detoxing all the time because we have organs. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's what I mean. That's exactly what I mean. And I am not joking on any of you that believe in detoxing. I used to too. So I've been there. But yeah, when you take a step back and actually look at the science, you feel kind of goofy. You're always detoxing. Yeah, because we have organs. Low carb food says he talks sense. I do talk sense. So true about fast food. Yeah, absolutely. Fast food's a bunch of bullshit. What about alcohol? Alcohol's the same thing. I'm going through my own journey with alcohol. I used to be a binge drinker. I definitely got control over it a long time ago. But it's always been part of my life, and I've enjoyed it and been able to manage it. But I do find myself in a new, I just at the beginning of a new phase, I think, where I really am starting to look at it. And, part of it's scientific, and just waking up from the bullshit. It's no different for me. I'm as brainwashed as all the rest of us. And I've been able to free myself of the diet brainwashing. So again, I'm no better or worse. I'm just as brainwashed in a million other ways, but the dieting brainwashing, I've been able to free myself of. And so I feel it's part of my duty, because I feel so grateful that I've been able to, that I feel it almost my duty and responsibility to try and help as many people as possible as I can with it as well. But alcohol's another one where I think, we've been bullshitted. There's no benefit to alcohol. Now I say that again, this is the cognitive dissonance that I think is good to be able to exist with. It's when you do something that is not good for you. That's me with alcohol. Now, again, I keep cutting down the alcohol more and more and more every week. So I feel good about that. But I do see on the horizon, potentially, I may just stop drinking completely at some point. Now, that being said, I like to frame things in gray terms, not black and white ones, because we're humans, and we're not just going to do black and white stuff. We're not just going to not do things that aren't good for us. That's why I hate about dieting. It's so cut and dry, so black and white. And we're not black and white creatures. We're complex people that do dumb shit, So anyways, so with alcohol, you can absolutely lose weight drinking alcohol, but it makes it a little harder, I would say. It's extra calories, and depending on how alcohol affects you, you may find it harder to eat well when you're under the influence of alcohol, which isn't just when you're drunk. It's also the next day. It messes with your blood sugar, messes with your mindset, messes with a lot of things, your biology, your biochemistry. So, but again, people tend to look at when you're under the when you're inebriated, when you're under the effects of it, you tend to make, your inhibitions lower, you tend to eat shittier, right? There's that piece. But to me, it's like also the next day, take a look at your eating. So, depending on how much you're drinking, depends on your situation. So I can't make a blanket statement. Alcohol is never going to help people lose weight, pretty much. But again, you may not be willing to give it up. I wasn't, and still am not. And so I had to say, okay, how can I have alcohol and master my weight? And so I asked that question and came up with the solutions that work for me. So what's up, Julie? Julie said, I love fresh fruit with non-fat Greek yogurt. And I also love yams, spinach now, not craving chocolate as much anymore. That's great, Julie. Yeah. You start crowding out, the more healthy stuff you put into your body, you start crowding out the unhealthy cravings. That's great, Julie. That's super. This is how much weight is everyone in the chat trying to lose before summer? Oh boy, yeah, the old weight loss before summer. Yep, we're kicking it off March 1st. I would let that go, folks. I mean, just simply, but let me ask you, how many times have you intended to lose weight before summer? Before spring, before the holidays, before school starts, before your birthday, before Christmas, before Easter, before Mother's Day. You know what I mean? Like, good luck. Oh, okay, Mario. Oh, Jonathan and I have been talking, relating to similar stuff where buddies have decided to hop on. Oh, that's there you go. That makes sense. I was like, yeah, very weird if you both hopped on just randomly. That's crazy. Carmel says, I feel unwell when I eat out. I'm used to fresh foods now. Yeah, agreed. Now, I don't feel unwell when I eat out because even the places I go to serve fresh food, but I don't eat out at like chain shithole places. And I'm not saying the places I go to fresh food, they're not expensive. So I'm not being some elitist who only eats at fancy places. They're not fancy at all, but they make the food there. They're places that actually make the food. And these chain restaurants are just serving you processed food. They're not cooking the food in the back there. They're just heating it up for you. So it's just processed food. So again, I feel unwell if I go out and eat at chain places that are serving processed food too. I don't really like that food. Gloria said, dieting is confusing and spending money going to these companies that do nothing. Yeah, agreed. Dieting is intentionally confusing. The diets do not want you to lose weight. All the diet companies are owned by the big food companies. Weight Watchers was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Cinnabon or Atkins Food Products is owned by the same company that owns Cinnabon and Auntie Anne's Pretzels. Slim Fast owned by the same company that owns Ben & Jerry's ice cream. So they're not trying to help you lose weight. They're trying to confuse you and take your money and then fill your head up with rocks so that you keep eating the same way ultimately, which is why after decades of dieting, you probably know as little about how to lose weight now as you did before you started your first diet. Low carb food ideas. If you put 20 pounds on, you know what you're done wrong. Yeah, I would agree with that. Jonathan said, I was eating maybe a little more than my restrictive self, but I was so active, like 20,000 steps a day and swimming and stuff. Yeah, the activity stuff really doesn't matter much. I'm just telling you, Jonathan, I promise you, I was eating maybe a little more than my restrictive self. Everything you need to know, dieters, is said in that little statement. I don't think Jonathan's lying to me either. Jonathan is very honest, and I know this about Jonathan. So there's not a cell of my being that thinks Jonathan is intentionally lying to me or himself. That being said, I think Jonathan's lying to himself, but I'm just going to put that out there because, of course, you can't put 20 pounds on. If you went into vacation eating the same as if you went into vacation and had lost 20 pounds or 15 pounds and you ate the same and now you're doing 20,000 steps a day, there's no way you would gain 20 pounds. There's only one way that you can put 20 pounds on. There's only one way. You know what it is, Jonathan? I'll see if you can answer that. Don says, there it is. The weight will always reflect what we are eating in the end. Yeah, stop playing it. Is it the alcohol, John? Jonathan, damn, it could have been the alcohol. It's so funny. But Jonathan, that's what I mean. Like Jonathan, and again, I'm not picking on Jonathan because I say this. I do wish because I'm as ignorant as anyone about a lot of things in life. Like I really am. But I've walked the path of weight mastery for a long time. So I've gone through a lot of my ignorances. But I've just had all the same shit I was missing or misbelieved or all the rest of it. But it's always calories. So it may not be food. You know what I mean? But it's always, if your weight goes up, it's because you're consuming more calories. And the calories can come, obviously, food and then alcohol. So I'm glad you got to recognize that. Yeah, I was drinking quite a lot, but didn't take that into consideration. Well, there you go, Jonathan. Another mystery's history. So again, it's good to know that, though. This is what I'm trying to tell you. I know no one wants to put weight on. I get that. But you all make it 100 times worse when you say, I don't fucking get it. I'm eating perfect and I'm gaining weight. My partner, they're eating everything and they're not gaining any weight. No, it's because you're consuming more calories and they're not. That's why. And again, the more clear cut you make it, the better, because otherwise you get lost in your own bullshit stories. And those stories are awful because they make you feel powerless. Right? Because what do you think is going to happen? Oh, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight. Because that's where you all end up at. And it's not true. Low carb food ideas. What's the femininity, Jim? The femininity, someone was on here saying that Jonathan was saying he doesn't like looking bigger than his husband. And someone else said, I don't like looking bigger than my husband. It makes me feel less feminine. And I said, if you go to the femininity piece of it more than just, I want to look less so that I feel more feminine. That's the wrong way to go about it. And if you start saying, I want to look slimmer, I like being thinner than my husband, fine. But if you add on top of that, because I want to feel more feminine, why? That's a whole thing to dive into. And there's all sorts of motivation in wanting to be more feminine if that's your goal. But there's more meaning to that than just looking a certain way. I hope that makes sense. What's up, Zoe? Zoe says, I'm trying to maintain my weight after losing it over 1 year. Great job. Great job. I will give you a little suggestion, a little semantical suggestion. I wouldn't try shit. If I tried to close the door, I tried closing the door. Is that door open or closed? Try implies failure. And so when you say, I'm trying to maintain my weight, your subconscious mind imagines it's trying, and it imagines it's ultimately going to fail. So be careful of the word try. And I would say, I'm working on maintaining my weight. I'm figuring out how to maintain my weight for the rest of my life on near autopilot. I'm looking at how to master my habits, my mindset, and my eating so that I live the rest of my life at my goal weight. And it's as easy as remembering to brush my teeth. We can say whatever we want. And I think what we say sets us up for success or failure. So good job, Zoe. Nice job getting to your goal weight. And now, the real work begins. Yeah. To lose weight, you can't drink, period. No ifs, no buts, John. That's not true. Just so everyone knows. That's 100% not true. You can absolutely drink and lose weight. 100%. It's not true in any situation that you can't drink and lose weight. Now, again, for most people, there's different psychologies, but I could throw every single one of you in jail, and now I'm in control of your calories, and I give you alcohol every day, but I control all your other calories. I'll make you all lose weight. Every one of you. Lana says, thank you so much. I'll definitely deepen my spiritual motivation. Oh, good. Jonathan said, yeah, I also noticed I felt like I deserved to eat after being active too. Dang, I've been blind. Yeah, again, that's the licensing effect. Look that up and get to know that. You can eat more if you've exercised. Not really. I mean, for a little bit you can, but again, if you eat more than you exercise, you're always going to eat more than you exercised off because humans are terrible at measuring calories. And the other piece is that eventually your exercise, you don't keep burning a lot of calories. What happens is you burn a lot of calories for a very short period of time, and then your calorie burning goes way down. It's called the constrained energy expenditure theory. Go look it up. Low carb food ideas. I don't miss the food, John. I miss the glass of cold wine. Carmel says, I've reduced sugars and reversed diabetes recently. Wow. Congratulations, Carmel. It's super, super duper. It's one of my favorites. I love helping people reverse their diabetes. It's one of my favorite things to do. Okay, so that's fab to hear. You like a drink, Jim. There's hope then. There's absolutely hope. I mean, listen, you got to know what you're doing. I'm not saying it's an advanced sort of thing, but again, when you understand how to program yourself, then we follow the weight mastery pyramid: mindset, lifestyle, eating. And when you master all the components of those three categories, and you know how to program your mind, you can do a lot of things. I mean, it's just like anything. If you dabble with the piano and then you see someone who's a master of it, they're able to do things you couldn't never imagine possible. So, again, when you dedicate yourself to mastery, you open yourself up to be able to do things that people might have thought was impossible. Low Carb says, I have 3 stone to lose. I want to drop some before I drink again. Plus I'm trying not to eat sugar and I love wine. Yeah. Again, I get it. I get it. I'm speaking very technically. For most people, the less alcohol they're drinking, the quicker their weight loss is going to go. So I want to make that clear too. But I'm speaking to the people that aren't going to quit drinking. You don't have to, because I think that's what happens a lot of times is people think, oh, I have to stop drinking in order to lose weight. Oh, I have to stop eating cookies in order to lose weight. I have to stop eating sugar. I have to stop eating carbs to lose weight. No, you do not. You can still eat those things. You need to moderate them though. And you need to reduce your average calories, and you can do that. And you will do it usually a lot longer term when you don't feel deprived, completely miserable. So again, it's a little more complex than I'm making it, but yeah. Oh, it says, hey, but love how you're always right, Jim. I needed to hear this. Yeah. Again, it's Jonathan, this is what I'm trying to say. Again, let me just say this to reinforce the bigger picture, because you're still on it, man. So I'm proud of you. Okay. By the way, like you're in the game now for real. And when I talk about weight mastery, it's a never-ending path. Weight mastery is a never-ending marathon because you want to live at your goal weight for the rest of your life, don't you? So it goes on forever. And so we go through different experiences and we keep learning and growing and evolving from them. So now, Jonathan, you're much more aware of what was going on, but now you see it honestly. And so now, next time you go on vacation, you can go and say, I don't give a shit if I put 20 pounds on, I'll take it right off and I don't care. That's how I want a vacation. Or you might say, I want to go on vacation, but I'm going to dial the drinking down a little bit, and that's fine too. So, but again, if you keep growing and evolving, that's the main point. But we can't grow and evolve if we don't see things accurately. And so you're in a much better position now because you're seeing things much more accurately than you were. So that's a big deal. Jonathan, honestly, my husband was eating a lot too, but I guess it's metabolism for him. He's never been overweight in his entire life. It shocks me. Yeah. Okay. So I will tell you this, that I believe this is a microbiome issue. And I don't think there's enough science yet for me to talk definitively about it, but this is my theory. Is I believe like I could go on vacation with you, Jonathan, and we could both go into the vacation and eat the exact same amount of calories, drink this exact same amount of calories. I think you will put more weight on than I will. Why? Because I think I have a different microbiome than you. And when you study the microbiome, again, it's a new science. So I'm not going to say it's black and white, case closed, but it's clearly involved with how many calories we are absorbing from the foods we consume. So we both might eat 1,000 calories. I might absorb 700 calories of it. You might absorb 850 calories of it because we have different microbiomes. Now, if we stayed on that vacation for the next year, so if the vacation went from 2 weeks to 52 weeks, now all of a sudden I think our weight's going to even out because my microbiome will have changed, or we would have evened out because we've been eating the same thing. So I think a lot of what leads to people's weight gain or weight loss and the rate and speed of it, that it happens in the initial phases of changing your eating, is I think it's a microbiome factor, but who knows? Elizabeth, yeah, said humans like other animals track their calories. Yeah. Tracking calories is weird. I get it, and I'm glad we can do it, but to live your life tracking calories is so strange. It's very weird. But Just Jade said yes, and there are 0 health benefits to alcohol, but sure, you can drink and lose weight. Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think I'm waking up from my alcohol trance. I've had alcohol in my life my entire life, literally. I drink it at a very young age. And I had a lot of bullshit ideas about it that I'm just finally are starting to crumble a little bit. Where will that lead me? I don't know. I'm comfortable and I'm fine with my alcohol consumption as it is now. But I do find my mindset again changing slowly over time in a way that I would not be surprised if I don't drink alcohol at all at some point, which I would have never been able to say 10 years ago. So, but yeah, to each their own. And Coco says you're amazing. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Some great advice, Jim. Thanks. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, Jonathan says that's true, but also probably his mindset, because we talked about it and he really doesn't think about food a lot. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like that's piece of it too, but that's partly microbiome. And I use the microbiome as kind of a catch-all for things I can't explain. But I know that if me and you, Jonathan, went on vacation, I would not be worried about my weight at all. And even if we force fed ourselves the same amount of food, I think it would be easier for you to eat a lot more food than it would be for me. So I think that I would bet that your husband is still consuming less food. Because listen, I will tell you this, folks, and I hope you take this to heart. I know you won't, but I know you think you know what other people are eating. I know it because dieters are always saying, "Well, I eat the same as them." You have no clue. Like if you saw me eating, we would be out somewhere socially. And if you saw me at a restaurant, you'd say, "Oh my God, where do you put it? How do you eat like that and stay so thin?" Well, you'd see me for an hour and a half of the week. You wouldn't see my breakfast. You wouldn't see my lunch. You wouldn't see my dinner on the other nights of the week. So this is one of the worst things people do to themselves because they think, oh, I watched a person eat one meal. Even if you live with the person, you still don't know what they're eating. Even if you sit at a fucking table and eat with them and watch them, you still don't know how much they're eating. Unless you guys both had exactly the same amount on a plate and came, then you might have a chance. But I'm telling you, people's ability to measure what they're eating and certainly what other people are eating is awful. And yet we think it's perfect. And that sets us up for all kinds of failure. So I will tell you, Jonathan, that I can almost guarantee you that he ate less than you did. I can almost guarantee you. And so if me and you, Jonathan, if we went on vacation together and we even ate the same exact thing, I still think I wouldn't put some weight on. I think the microbiome's part of it. And I also think I'm just relaxed and calm. Like I don't give a shit because I know I'm in vacation mode. And then as soon as I get back, I'm back to regular mode and the weight's going to come right off. Whatever I put on vacation is going to come right back off when I go back to my regular mode. So I'm at peace. I'm calm. And I know all of those things biochemically help me maintain my weight as well. My sleep, my relaxation, my breathing, my hydration, my nourishment, all of those things are going to help me as well. So there's always more to it than just the calories. Certainly short term. Yeah, Jonathan. Well, I appreciate that. It says you're incredible. I'd be hop on here every day if I could, but I listen on Spotify. Well, that's great, Jonathan. Yeah, just pop on here whenever you got any issues. Again, I'm happy to help you out. Curveball said a whole year of no drinking for me happened this March 1st. Take your time. Wow, congratulations, Curveball. Congrats. It's a big deal. John said, yeah, and it shocked me because I think about food a lot and I want it often, but to him, it's like water. John said, honestly, I feel like you eat very little. It's probably not true, but I just can't imagine Jim being a big back. Yeah, no, I definitely, it's funny. I mean, like if you saw me eat on Saturday night, you'd be like, what the fuck, Jim? You eat, this is how you eat? Like I eat a lot on Saturday night, like a lot, more than everyone else. But it's one night a week. I used to eat like that all the time. I used to eat 6 times a day, every day. So yeah. And that was before, good Lord, like I said, I'm very thankful I did a lot of this stuff back in the day. Because, it was before they got the processed food. It was 30 years ago. I'm so thankful I got to skip the last 30 years of processed food. But no, I absolutely was a big back eater. Like no doubt about it. It was like a holiday. It was like it was like a religious holiday when McDonald's would do like the 2 for 2 chicken sandwiches. I mean, it was just, yeah, anyways, but yeah, things change, And again, Jonathan, that is the piece ultimately that's going to dictate your weight is that mindset wise, you're still obsessed with food. That's the part that ultimately is going to have to change if you're going to live at your lower goal weight for forever, so. Vicky says, how is your 7-pound gain from the holidays gone? That's a good question. I have been weighing myself a little bit more and I dropped 2 of the pounds came off and are gone. And I've been in the 5-pound range, the upper range of it is where I've been. And I know why. So, and I'm okay with it because where I've been at, it's been a tough month. And I actually work with some people in the general area and it's been an extremely snowy, icy, cold month and a half. And that's had negative impacts on my weight that I'm fine with. So I believe probably where are we at? March, the beginning of May, I can almost guarantee that I'll be back down those 5 pounds, but we'll see. John said, "Oh, you gained 7 pounds." Yeah, I gained 7 pounds over the holidays, and then I was on vacation, and I put 7 pounds on. So again, I have no problem putting some weight on. I do regularly every year, pretty much around the holidays, very intentionally when I go on vacation. But again, the beauty is I've been doing this for so long. Uh, it's part of a year-long cycle for me. It's normal for our weight to fluctuate based on other factors, folks. I said, honestly, it shocks me for some reason that you can gain weight. No, I know that. I know it shocks people. It shocks me too. I'm not going to lie. I mean, 12 years ago, I put like 25 pounds on in a couple months. And I'm not going to lie. I was in the mindset of it. I could eat anything I want. So I have done something to this body where I could eat anything at this point and I won't gain weight. And I did that right until I had to go to the doctor's office. And I'm like, I know I put a little bit of weight on. It's so funny looking back on it, the level of denial, because it was so obvious for so many different reasons. And 25 pounds may not sound like a lot to you all, but it was a lot on my body. And I was noticing things from it that I was ignoring. Anyways, I step on the scale. I was like, oh shit, 25 pounds. I didn't realize it was that much. And so, anyways, but yeah, I think that that's an easy thing to believe, but no, I can put weight on just like anyone else. Yeah, just keep going back to those memories of losing for wedding, and I feel like I can do it again. But I can't for some reason get into it anymore. Yeah, okay, John, you know why. So I like low carb food ideas. So there's the classic, like trying to be positive and supportive, right? You can do it. You can do it, John. I don't know. I don't know, John. I mean, you can do it. You can absolutely keep your weight down. I'm not saying that. You absolutely can do it. The question becomes, will you do it? Because now your main motivator is gone. So I want everyone to hear this because I find a lot of people, this I always think is number one issue every dieter has, is that you do not know how to motivate yourself. That's your core problem. Just your first initial problem you have. You're not even motivated. So Jonathan was super motivated because he knew wedding was coming up, wedding pictures forever. That's super motivated. And I told you that. I said, that's fine. It'll last for a while. But now that's gone. Now you're thinking backwards. I'm telling you this because I've done with 6,000 private weight loss sessions. I always say, okay, what do you want to weigh? They tell me, why do you want to weigh that? That's what I weighed when I was 18. That's what I weighed when I got married. That's what I weighed when I lost all that weight on Weight Watchers 30 years ago. So the motivation that worked at one time, we keep trying to go back to the well. And there's no more pictures happening. There's no group of people looking at you. And so it's not relevant motivation anymore. So you need to find new motivation that's relevant now. I told you this. I told you this last July. And the same issues there. You've got to find new motivation that's relevant today and will be relevant for the rest of your life. And it's not there right now. So no, you probably won't do it if you keep trying to tap into the wedding thing. The wedding thing's behind you. How's that going to keep motivating you? I know some people are like, oh my God, you'd be so negative. It's the last thing in the world I'm trying to be negative. I'm trying to be honest. This is why a lot of you dieters are in trouble, because you think the motivation that worked 30 years ago, what motivated you when you were fucking 18, when you were 22 and single, you think you still have you think those same motivators that worked with then are going to motivate you now that you're 55, 65? The fact that in any way that could sound negative saying that is not my problem. It's the dieter mindset problem, that you live in such a fantasy land that anytime anyone says anything critical about your motivation, people freak out. But if we talk about motivation in an honest way, how can something from back there motivate you now? That's like saying, oh my God, when I was in college, I used to read books all the time. How come I don't read them anymore? Because back then, if you didn't read the books, you were going to fail college and you weren't going to get a job and you weren't going to get a degree. And now you got a degree and now you got a job. And so what's your motivation? Does that make sense? User 649 says, you in New Jersey or New York? I'm in Massachusetts. Oops. John said, I tried to think about my upcoming birthday, but that doesn't motivate me at all. No, it wouldn't. It's hard to motivate myself now. I know you did, and I really didn't believe you at all. I know, Jonathan. I believed me because I've gone through this a million times. But again, Jonathan, here's the thing. Again, just back to what I was saying before. This is all, if you allow it to be, this is all in service of you growing and evolving into a better version of yourself. You couldn't have believed me last year. But what I'm proud of you is that you've done all this work to get to now. Here we are, almost a year later. So congrats. That's quite an accomplishment. Okay. So here you are almost a year later, and now you're face to face with it. So now you're able to meet that in a real way. People always think they can just meet their challenges whenever they want to. And that's bullshit. You meet your challenges when you're ready to meet them. And so last year we could talk about motivation, but that just fell on deaf ears. Fine. We didn't have to have that conversation. I planted a little seed for what the problem was then so that we could get to this point and deal with it. Is 90% of what my coaching is. And so now though you realize what the real issue is that you're not motivated. All of you weigh what you want to weigh, just so you know. You weigh what you want to weigh. There's no avoiding that because you're in control of your weight. You're in control of your reading. So you always weigh what you want to weigh. The sooner you realize that, the better. So. Yep, exactly, Vicky. Life isn't stagnant. Things do change. Totally normal. Completely normal. Yeah. All right. Very good, everyone. Yeah, again, glad to see you, Jonathan. Again, keep going, my friend. But notice the goal is not to keep forcing yourself to eat whatever way you want to eat. I get it, but you'd be well served to take some of that energy and aim it at your motivation, and find out why. What am I looking for here? Yeah. All right, everyone. Yeah, if you want to go deeper into this, 6 9, the truth stinks, but I appreciate it. Yeah, it's true. The truth sucks sometimes, but we need the truth first so we can resolve it. If we live in fantasy land, we can never resolve the core problems. So yeah, if you like this stuff, click the link in my bio, go get the hypnosis session, watch the video I made for you, read the emails I send. They'll all help you master your weight. And they're all free. Okay. And if you like this here, I do this every Monday through Friday. I'm here usually around noon Eastern. Get on here. I'm happy to help you answer any questions you have, coach you along for free. Again, I do this as a mission to help you out. And if you like these lives and you can't listen to them, it's a podcast as well called Program Yourself Thin, and it's on all the podcast platforms. So go check it out, listen to it, and know that there's a better way to master your weight, much better than dieting. And I share it with you every day. All right, everyone, have a super duper day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.